Hello programmers, welcome to the series of Pandas dataframe tutorial. Today we will be talking about functionality of LOC and iLOC in Pandas dataframe, and we'll find out which one is more efficient to select the rows and columns. Actually these are used to select the rows and columns. For this I have already imported Pandas library SPD and I have created my data frame. Now as you can see we have 2 columns and there are 8 rows. So in order to have enough rows in column, I am going to take 2 more columns now. For this I'll take column name as maybe address. So ADDRESS, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the same address for all the rows. Okay, and then I'll execute it. Now let me add one more column. So let it be a salary column. Now for all the 8 rows I'm going to take 8 salary, some random numbers. Just a random numbers. 4, 5, 6, then 7 and 8. So I have 8 values for all the 8 rows, and then I'll execute it and then I will check my data frame. Okay, now as you can see this data frame has 4 columns and there are 8 rows. Now I have enough data to work. Now let us see what is LOC and what is iLOC, and then we'll do the practical of it. So these are used in slicing of the data from Pandas data frame. So that means you can slice the data, you can select the rows and columns, and they help in convenient selection of data from the data frame. They are used in filtering the data according to some conditions. That means we can give conditions also using LOC. And slicing a data frame, you can either use the data frame object and then you can use slice, or you can use Pandas LOC, you can use Pandas iLOC. Today we are going to see all these topics, and we'll see what is the difference between LOC and iLOC as well. LOC is label based. The thing you have to remember is LOC is label based, whereas iLOC is integer position based. That means if you want to mention the label of your rows, then you can use LOC, which means that you have to specify rows and column based on their row and column labels. So when you know the row and column labels, you can use LOC. But in case you don't know the row and column labels, then what you can do, you can use integer position, the position of your rows and columns. So you have to specify row and column by their integer position values. So you can use either LOC or iLOC. So this is the difference between these two. This work upon the label and this work upon the integer position. Now the type of values which are allowed for LOCs. So here you can use a single label. Okay, that may be if your row label has integer or numbers, you can use either 5, or this is an example, or you can use the row label, whatever you have. Now here 5 is interpreted as a label of the index and never as an integer position along the index. Now the second type of input you can LOC can have is you can have a list or array of labels. That means you can give more number of labels by using list. Okay, now you can a slice object with labels, you can use a slice object with labels. Okay, these are the labels. A boolean array of the same length as the axis being sliced, you can use true, false, true. Now the type of error which is raised, it's the key error. When any item is not found and you are using that item, for example A is not there and you are using it, it will raise an error. Now the type of inputs which are allowed for iLOC is an integer, for example 5, okay, and this is the position. A list or array of integer you can provide in a list. For example, 430. Okay, so this is the integer position, we can say. A slice object with integers. You can use a slice object. You can provide integers, numbers, and you can use this column. A boolean array you can use. Now the type of error, ILOC will raise index error. If a requested indexer is out of bound, that means if you are using an index which is not there, then it will raise an error. But it will not raise error when slice indexer which allow out of bound indexing. When you are using slicing and you are taking an index which is out of bound, then it will not raise any error. So now let us see the practical of it. Now if you remember, this LOC we use for index name locator. It is used to access a group of rows and column by labels. When we use labels, then we use LOC. When we use numeric index, we use ILOC. Now let us see the index, the syntax of it. LOC will take two arguments. Now this is the comma, and this first part is for the rows and the second part is for the columns. You can even use slice, where first is start row index, start row and then column and then end row. Put a comma and then you can use for column, start column and then end column. Now if we pass colon, if we simply use a colon, that means in row or column part, whichever part you are using colon only, then pandas provide the entire rows or column respectively. That means in this row part, if you will take single column, then also it will display all the rows. And if in columns part you are using just a column, it will display all the columns. And for ILOC, I already told you, it is used to access a group of rows and column based on the numeric index value. It has the same syntax, okay, which means separated with commas. This part is for row, this part is for column, and in row also you can provide the start index, row index, putting a column, end row index. Then for column also start row column index and end column index. Okay. Yeah, this is the same for both. That means when you are using simply column, that means row and the column part, the pandas will provide the entire row or column. Okay. Now let us see this. Let us check our data frame object. This is my data frame and this is the table. Now, as we have already seen that LOC will allow the inputs as single labels. So let us first execute by using .loc, and as you can see, these are the row labels. So in this square bracket, I am going to take row label as maybe P6 I'll take, and then I'll use Alt Enter. Okay, can you see this? This is Deepak 23 ANP 6900. Now this is for the single row label. Now when you want to display a list of labels, then what you can use? You can use LOC, and then in this list you can take in this square bracket, take a list and then use your row label. Maybe P5 I am going to take, and I am going to take one more, that is P7. Okay, and Alt and Enter I am using so that I can get a new cell also. So you can see these are the two rows or the row label we are using to display, and both the rows are displayed. Now this is for the rows. Now if you remember, LOC can take two arguments. So I want to, and if we are not mentioning any column, it will display all the columns. Okay. Now what if I want a particular column? In that case, what I'll do, I'll take a list of my rows, for example maybe P5 and P7 only, and P7, and after this I want a particular column. Maybe I'll take age only, so I'll take age. So in this I am taking two labels, row labels and one column. and then you can execute. Okay, so as you can see, as I wanted to see only one column and these two rows, it's displaying the row and column we have selected. Now what if you want one particular row and one particular column? Okay, so in that case, I already told you LOC will take two arguments. First one is for the rows, for example P2, and the second one is for the column, maybe age. So as you can see, this is separated with comma, and the two parts, this is for the row and this is for the column. When you execute it, can you see this? It's displaying 30. That means P2 age, let us check it. P2 age is 30. So we have seen for the single row, we have seen for the list of rows, we have seen for the list of rows and a particular column, we have seen for one row, one column. Now what if you want to display the rows from P2 to P7? What will you do? So in that case, we are going to use slice, and then here I'll take P2, and then using this slice I'll take P7. Okay, now as you know, this is for the row part and then separating with the comma, and I just want to, okay, if I want all the columns, then I'll use this, if you remember. And the alternate to this is, okay, the alternate of this command will be, when you use only this, that means you're mentioning only the row and then you execute it, then also it will show all the columns. But it's a better way if you mention the column also, that means colon, a single column, then it will display all the columns. Okay, now this is for the columns, as we have selected P2 to P7. Now there's one more thing. If you want the step value also, then you can use this slice operation. What I'll do is, I'm saying this is the start value, this is the end value, and if you remember, if you can see this, Pandas will include the start value also and the end value also for LOC. You have to keep in mind this thing. You may be confused because in iLOC the end value is not included. So if I am providing a step value and if I execute it, now can you see this? Here I am providing the start value as P2 and the end value as P7, okay, and with the difference of 2, that means P2, P4 and P6 will be displayed. Okay, I'll use Alt Enter. Okay, now yeah, and the same you can get the result when you use, maybe I'll do changes here only, putting a comma, and then for the column part I'm going to use only a colon, then also you'll get the same result. Okay, now the same result you can achieve by using AF, and then you can use a slice operation here. That means P2 I'm saying till P7 and with the step value of 2. When you use directly it with the data frame object, then also you'll get the same result. Okay, can you see both the results are same? Here I have used LOC and here I have used just the data frame object and this slice. Okay, now let us see how you can provide condition. You can provide condition also to filter your result. So for this I'll take my data frame object, and then through LOC I wanted to see I want to filter my result. So inside this, when you want to provide the condition, take the data frame object inside LOC, and then in this you can take, maybe I'll take column. Okay, I'll take age only. So here I'll take age greater than 30. Display the result of all the students having age greater than, or maybe person having age greater than 30. and then Alt and enter. So there are only 2 rows. Let us check our original data. This, yeah, as we have seen, greater than 30, it's 34 and 45 only. Okay, so this is correct. So this way you can provide the condition by using LOC. Now what if you want to select few columns, as it is displaying all the columns, but in case I want to see only few columns, I'll just copy it and I will paste it. Okay, now in this you can take the second argument, and what is that? I am saying I want name and I want age. Okay, I want name and age. Okay, now see this I am providing condition. When you are giving condition in LOC, you have to take the data frame object and whatever column, and then whatever condition you want to provide, you can use any arithmetic operator and provide the condition greater than, less than, and separating with the comma. And here I am providing the second part, that is for the column. Okay, I am saying I want to see only name and age, and closing it now. Now if I execute Alt and enter, so as you can see, this is for the age greater than 30, and we want to see only 2 columns, which is name and age. That means with condition you can specify column labels also. Now this LOC can be used to set value for all the items matching the list of labels. That means we can assign a value, or we can set the value for all the items. How? df and then dot LOC, LOC, and then in this provide the column, as I want 2 columns, which it may be P5 and maybe P7. Okay, and for this I want to change or assign value to age column, to the age column. And what I want to assign, maybe 12. So, and then Alt and enter. So if I execute and check my data frame, now this we have changed P5 and P7 to 12. P5 and P7 to 12. Now this way you can assign value, a set value for all the items matching the list of labels. Now how you can set value for the entire row? You can do that also. For all the rows, I'll set the value by using df loc, and then in this take the for the entire row I'm saying, that means maybe any row, I'll take P6 only. So what I'm doing, P6 and then is equal to, if I do 10 and if I execute it, Alt and enter, if I check my data frame, okay, sorry, this is 10 and Alt and enter, check my data frame. Now can you see this? I have set P6 and I have got for entire row 10 only. So this way you can use to assign value for entire row, for all the columns of one particular row. Okay, now what if you want to set the value for entire column? That also you can do by using df then dot loc, and then in this I am saying for all the rows. So I'll take a column, and then as you know, after comma we use column name. So I'm going to use the column name and then equal to, maybe I'll set the value as 30 and then shift and enter, and I'll check my data frame, Alt enter. Okay, now as I have set for age column, 30 is assigned for all the rows, or all the rows of this particular column. Okay, so this way you can assign value for entire column. Now we have seen how we can select a particular row or column, or how we can check the condition and then give the condition and then select the rows and columns. And then we have seen how we can assign value by using LOC. Now let us see how you can use iLOC. As we have seen, to access a group of rows and column based on the numeric index value, we use iLOC. Now this is the difference between LOC and iLOC. LOC we use the row label, and in iLOC we use the index. Now I'll take df.iloc and will give the scalar integer, that means just one integer value, iLOC, and maybe 3 I am using, and shift and enter. Now let us see our data frame. Okay, so this was, I have used 3, that means 0 1 2 3. Now as you know, the row index start with 0, so this is 0, this is 1 2 and 3. That's why it's displaying menu, age 30, ANP as the address, and this salary 6056. So this is when you use a scalar integer. Now when you provide the list of integer, I'll use df.iloc and then I'll provide the list of integer. Okay, maybe I'll give 3 5 and shift and enter. So as you can see, 3 5 means this is 3, then 4 and then 5, so that's why it's displaying menu and 10. Now this is for the list of integer. Now let us see how we can slice the object through iLOC. That also you can do by using df.iloc, and in this we'll use the slice operator. Maybe I'll give 0 and 3. So shift and enter. Now as you see, this part is for the row, so it is 0 1 and 2. Now do you remember I told you in LOC the end is also included, but in iLOC the end value is exclusive. So this way you can slice. Now this is for the row part. I can even do it df.iloc, and in this, if I say 0 3 and separating with the comma, I say maybe entire column, shift and enter, entire column will be displayed. And if I say 0, that means 0 to 2, 0 to 2, and then shift and enter. 0 to 2 means this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and I told you the last value is not included, this is exclusive. That means this 0 and 1 will be included. Okay, so this way you can slice your rows and columns also. You can use indexing for both the axes using iLOC. How you can use iLOC and then provide the index, maybe 0. Now here I am using comma, 0 2 if I say, that means, can you see this? 0 means let me scroll. 0 means this, okay, and I said 0 2. This is for column, this is 0, this is 1 and this is 2. So that means this value only I'm asking. Okay, so this way if you want to just check only a particular value for a particular column and row, then you can use this indexing for both rows and columns. And if you have seen, I told you the syntax of iLOC and LOC. So you can separate with the comma, and this part is for the row, this part is for the column, and we are using for row 0 and for column we are giving 2. So now with the list of integer also you can use. For example, I can use iLOC. In this square bracket, I'll provide first of all for the rows. So maybe I'll say 0 2, and for the column part separating with the comma, and then you can give the list. So I am saying for the column maybe 2 4, 4 I don't know is there or not. Okay, and if I use shift and enter, now let us see our data frame object. So this is our data frame object, and I said 0 comma 2. 0 comma 2 means this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. That means P1 and P3. So P1 and P3 is included. For the column part, we are saying 2 comma 3. 2, 0, 1, 2. So this is 2 and this is 3. Okay, and these two columns is included. So this way you can even provide the list of integers when you use iloc. Now for slicing, we'll see one more thing, that is how you can use this slice. I'll use iloc, and then in this also you can separate with the comma, and then in this row part I'm saying 1 and colon and 3, and for the column I want 0 and 3. And if you remember, the end value is not included when you use slice in iloc. Shift and enter. So this is our original data, and we said 1 colon 3. That means this 2 is 1, P2 is 1, this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So 3 will not be included as that is the end value. So this and this, James. Okay, now for the column, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, and we are saying 0 colon 3. That means 0, 1 and 2. 3 will not be included. Otherwise, if this was LOC, this column would have included. Now you can, as I told you, as we have seen in LOC, we can provide a step value also. And for that, I'll take df dot iloc. We cannot use loc here, and then iloc I'll provide maybe 0. I want 0th index, and then till 7 I want with a step value of 2, I'm saying, and then shift and enter. Now in this, let us check our original data frame, and this is the data frame. We said 0 colon 7. That means this is 0 with the step value 2. That means include this and this till P7. Okay, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is the 7th index, and this will not be included as it is iloc. So that means till P7. Okay, with the difference of 2, till P7 with the difference of 2. You can see this. So this way you can use LOC and iloc for selecting your rows and column. That's all for today's class. We will see more about data frame in our next class. Thank you for watching.